On Sunday, Donald Trump's trade advisor and economist, Peter Navarro, decided to go on Jake Tapper's program on CNN, State of the Union. And, they were going to talk about the Woodward tapes that came out this week. And Jake Tapper, like most Americans, wanted to know why the president lied to the American public. He knew one thing behind closed doors, said a completely different thing to the public, told us not to worry, told us not to listen. And Tapper just wanted to get some answers from Navarro for the American public. And not surprisingly, Navarro was unable to provide any answers to any of Tapper's actual questions. He provided answers, but not answers to the questions. And so Tapper ends up getting pissed off, kicks Navarro off the set. Quite an interesting exchange. Take a look at what happened.
You can't have it both ways, Jake. You simply can't.
I'm not trying to have it both ways.
In February, nobody knew. No, nobody knew. Not the president, not
February
you,
7th.
Not Nancy Pelosi, not Bill de Blasio.
He knew it was deadlier than the flu, and he was lying to the American people 2 weeks later.
Jake, you're cherry picking.
I'm not cherry picking.
But you can say, look, I think
here it
all of this is asked and answered, Jake. Look, here's the thing.
He was not honest with the American people. You're not answering the question.
You're not honest with the American people. CNN is not honest with the American people. CNN, you want to go there? I mean,
I said you're not answering the question. Here's the thing. Thank you, Peter Navarro. We just played tape. You didn't answer the question.
No, you can't say that.
You didn't answer the question. No, you didn't.
Repeatedly, Jake. You just didn't like the
Peter
answer.
Navarro, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. And I would just like to remind the American people watching that the United States has less than 5% of the world's population, and the United States has more than 20% of the world's coronavirus deaths.
Now, as I mentioned, and as you can kind of see in the clip, Navarro does in fact answer some questions, just none of the ones that Jake Tapper was asking. So I don't know what answers he was giving to which questions, because we never got to hear any of the questions that he was answering be asked, because he was sticking to a set of talking points and did not want to deviate from the script. And you know what this tells us, folks? This tells us that everyone in this administration is being highly coached on how to handle this situation. What do we tell the press? How do we respond to this question? How do we respond to that one? But unfortunately, the one thing you can't be taught is spontaneity. The way to really kind of craft your structured talking point into an actual answer for the question while still sticking to your script, but also technically addressing the question that was asked. That's really not that hard to do. You can easily start to answer and redirect it. We see people do this all the time, right and left in interviews. Watch any cable news show. People go there with talking points. They know what they want to say, and they know how to get to where they want to go to say it. But these people from the Trump administration, they're not even trying. They're not even trying to make it look like they're not, reading off of these prepared talking points that they have in their brains. Because that's what we saw in that clip. That's what we saw if you were unfortunate enough to watch the whole, 9 or 10 minute clip there. It's really awful because Navarro keeps trying to hammer on these same points like we did this and China lied and de Blasio lied and everybody in New York lied, Cuomo lied. And Tapper's just like, yeah, no. It's kind of hard for anybody else to tell the truth when they're being lied to by the administration. How do you expect these other guys to tell the truth when they don't realize that they're receiving lies? They see that's kind of hard to do. And as for the China lying about anything thing, first of all, we don't know that even for sure. I know that's a big right-wing talking point to excuse Donald Trump's behavior, that China lied about their numbers, and sure, they probably did. We have, one, no way to prove that they did, and two, it doesn't matter at all one bit if they did or not. That doesn't affect anything that happened here in the United States, and I don't know why these idiotic MAGA hat wearers can't seem to get that through their heads. If China lied, if China didn't lie, how does that change what Donald Trump did in response? Because by the time it hit here in the United States, we had already seen it ravaging other countries, right? Did we think China was lying and Italy was lying about it? Because Italy was pretty much hit hard before we ever really saw cases here in the United States really start to take hold and spread. So even if China had been lying, we could have looked at Italy instead and said, oh crap, we should probably do something about that. But we didn't do that either. Nope. We listened to Donald Trump lie to us from day one. And that's why we're in the situation we're in now. So good luck, by the way, Peter Navarro, sticking to your scripted talking points. Got you kicked off CNN, and to be honest, I would like to see more networks do this, not just with Navarro, and not just on this issue, but with anybody from this administration who continues to dance around the questions that are asked. If they're not going to answer, kick them off and bring on somebody who might actually have something of substance to talk about.